All right, we are live for the Thursday edition of the morning check-in, and this morning doing the longer angle due to some interesting graphs I want to share with you in relation to the real economy, as I would like to put it, the real story as to what's really going on. And it's just hard to fake the numbers nowadays, even though the numbers are exaggerated still, but just too much red out here not to pay attention to it, just to give you a real viewpoint as to what's going on. So hope everyone is doing well. As always, want to welcome everyone to the live stream. Let me know if everything is flowing smoothly on your end, and as well as let me know how your day is starting out thus far. Lots of topics worth touching on. I have 6, 7 different stories that caught my attention this morning, and I thought I would just bring it to your attention if you haven't dialed in yet. And as always, we'll start off with some good news, get into some relevant stories, and then I guess zoom out and look at the bigger picture as to what's really, really cracking in the monetary restructuring that's underway right now. And it has a lot to do with the continual collaboration between China and other nations. And I want to share with you some developments as to what they're really intending to roll out to the world, of course, which we know already. But anyway, welcome to the live stream, everybody. Let me know if we have any first-time viewers. Shout out to my people over on Rumble. People checking in over there, as well as my people here on YouTube. If you have not, I would encourage you to make sure you click the bell notification so you'll hopefully be notified. Of course, no guarantees, but also make sure you hit that check mark if you're on Rumble and subscribe so you'll be notified when we do go live. The whole point in going live is to have people dial in real time. So, and there's also, for those who want to be a blessing to the channel, support the work here, feel free to contribute. Any monetary form is of importance, can be utilized to help me fund things on the back end. So as you can see here, links in the description, all the methods of which you can do that if you feel led to do so. All right. Let me acknowledge a couple people real quick. And let me see here. Let me make sure I can see what we got here. We got Ed checking in. How you doing, Ed? Hey, gang, Jesus is my king, Lord and Savior, 100%. We got Aces of Silver checking in. We got Toya checking in. Says, good morning, Mike, and all chat in the chat. Happy to be here, receiving good knowledge. Have a blessed day. Appreciate you. Also got Vu Tran Dam, stimulus on the way. Luke checking in says, approximately a week or so ago, you ran across something about being a silver lord all the way down to silver plebe. Would you mind reaching that, please? Luke, not let me see, cross something about being a silver lord. Luke, let me know what you're referring to there. Not sure exactly what that is. Let me know what you're talking about here. We got here Aladad. Shalom family. How you doing, my friend? PM is checking in with us. Appreciate your thumbs up, people. Toya, appreciate the love offering. Thank you. Thank you for blessing the channel like that. Thank you. Bougie Prepper checking in as well. Appreciate you. Appreciate you for taking time with me. We got Pay Me Money Back checking in as well. Where we at? What we got here? Pay Me Money Back checking in. All right, good people. As always, feel free to throw out thoughts, ideas, suggestions, whatever you're keeping your eye on. Everybody here has a unique angle or unique cause or storyline that they keep attention to or pay attention to, rather. So let me know in the chat. I'm definitely curious to find out what's going on with you guys. PM Gallery says, I'm running for non-president. I'm doing my campaign now. Let me know some of your talking points, my friend. Definitely love to support you. And also, of course, everybody's paying attention to the political theater with Trump and his trial and all that other stuff going on, man. It's just, one thing after the next. And of course, our RFK is out here, shooting it straight. But then again, everybody has the limitations to what they can and can't say. But nobody talks about the true underlying problems, which is the system in of itself. Just the whole concept of democracy. It's all been captured. It's all been hijacked. So not one individual can bring about change at a systemic level because it's just too deeply rooted in just, corruption and criminality and sin is just, so I find it entertaining just because no person is going to bring about change the way that's needed. But that's just my, no human rather. So anyway, we got Universal checking in from UK. How you doing, my friend? Let me know what's happening in your neck of the woods. Tom checking in as well. The government wants 40% or more of your earnings than they give it all away. And that's no matter what, based upon the trajectory of all the debt and the interest rate, all the charts that show everything going exponentially higher, just because that's the way the system is designed. The only way they're going to really pretend as if they can sustain things is literally to tax the people. So taxes is going to go regardless. Like, so think about this. This is where people don't really consider the long-term repercussions of today's actions from the monetary standpoint. Is that all the retirement funds, was it the Roth IRAs, things that you're told that you pay taxes now, so you don't have to pay taxes in the future. Like, I just find it hard to believe that between now and the time the younger generation looks to withdraw funds, we might be under different currency structure, definitely going to be under a different reserve type of structure, monetarily speaking. So to think that, you're going to actually be able to extract your wealth out of the system 5, 10, 20 years from now without there being some type of rewriting or them re-rigging the game in their favor is like very unlikely. And so I think a lot of the promises that are expected to be received in the future, I just wouldn't hold my breath, man. And when nations crumble, governments crumble, they get desperate, and they just they put on their thinking caps. And because government is good for nothing other than just at this current moment, stealing from the people, what do you think they're going to actually give you or allow you to have in the future? So, yeah, just, stuff that, who am I? I'm just a man with an opinion. But anyway, with that being the case, let's get into some good news, man. Good news. Let's get into some good news. Focus on what we can control, which is what we put into our brains in a positive sense. So this is from today's devotional. It says, May 30th, thankful always. And then it's from Psalm 9:1. It says, I will give thanks to the Lord with all my heart. And then it says, if you desire to have deep and lasting joy, it is important for you to develop an attitude of appreciation. You must decide to see the good in situations and choose to be thankful regardless of what goes wrong. So begin right now by counting your blessings. Think about what it cost Jesus to have a relationship with you. Be grateful for the amazing forgiveness he's given, pardoning your sins, past, present, and future. Meditate on your wonderful God who would never leave or forsake you, but loves, protects, provides for you always. Consider the Holy Spirit, your advocate, in all that concerns you. He empowers you to serve successfully and gives you all you need for life and godliness. It says, finally, consider the wonderful plans God has for you and all the loved ones he's given you to share your life with. It says, friend, you have so much to be grateful for. Surely the Lord is worthy of your praise. So worship God and give him thanks in every situation because you're a child of God, and truly, quote, praise is becoming to the upright. That's from Psalm 31:1. And then the closing prayer is, Lord, I am so grateful for you. Thank you for loving me and making me your own. Amen. Amen. That right there puts a different spin on all the natural things we just talked about, or I just ranted about a moment ago, because it helps put things in perspective. Be appreciative for what you have today, thankful for what God will do tomorrow, and let everything else, just put it in his hands, put it at his feet at the throne, and let God do the rest, man. So yeah, good stuff there. Charge me up this morning, man. Okay, so let's get into it, man. I have typical things I want to do, just do some announcement things like that for those who might be new to the channel. And then we'll get into some headlines, just basically paint a picture as to how, forecasters, I'm thinking like, okay, I never dive deep into how these forecasters come up with their figures, but clearly if they always need to readjust things, and it's usually, readjusted in a negative sense, it's like, what's the point of even having forecasters other than giving the investing community and speculators and those who watch and study the markets, some gauges to base their trades on, their investment strategies on, and just, give the narrative that the economy is, I guess, okay or strong or whatever they want to paint. But all is red that I'm about to show you in a minute. It's like, okay, how could you ever even think that, this is positive for our country, our economy, and more importantly, our pockets when it comes to this instrument right here. So, okay, let's get into it, man. Let me make sure I'm good here. So I want to try to get better at delivering these messages. And so I'm always trying to improve. So give me feedback as we move forward. So real quick and simple here. For those who may not know, never know, but RTD, Dollar IQ quiz, 10 simple questions make a world of difference. Simply just expose the knowledge gap we all had or have at some point, where it's just things we don't know, things we're not taught in school deliberately. And so here it's about fiat money and the distinction between sound money and fiat money. So if you have not, I encourage you, take the 10 questions and then follow the other 3 steps to monetary savviness, and you'll be better than the 99.99% that don't know what this instrument is here. Of course, you people who are plugged in right now, you know that, but maybe your family and friends don't. So share this quiz with them so they'll know and understand things from a different perspective. So sweet and simple. And then next here, I want to make sure I remind people, for those who have not, plug in with Colonial's Metals Group. And so as you can see here on the screen, this is a little thing to fill in, a little form to fill in, and you'll be contacted by the experts on how to take possession of your retirement portfolio in a self-directed IRA. For those who are interested in getting things in their possession in the physical sense, this is the opportunity to do so. So speak to the experts. You see the number, 888-521-2448. Give them a call. Let them know Mike sent you, and just ask questions. Put all your questions out there about things relevant today and possibly for the future, as I mentioned when I first started, as to how the likelihood of you being able to receive what is yours at a reasonable tax rate may not be favorable. But then again, if you have something in your possession, that puts you at a much different game. So anyway, more information here can be found if you guys are interested. Feel free to just click the link in the description, ask questions, and give them a call. And just get your questions answered. And also, for those who do participate, they have an opportunity where you can actually add to your stack up to, I think, about $10,000 in silver. So for those who qualify, so just an option for those who are interested. So check them out, and definitely it'll be worth the time just to get education. That's what it's all about, people. Okay, let's dive into it, man. I don't want to waste any time. Let's get into these figures. So what caught my attention? And then I'm in no particular order. No particular order. I just want to share with you some things that caught my attention here in reference to these figures that we've been given. So a lot of numbers came out today. A lot of figures came out. And as I was looking at just the information provided, of course, we got in the middle here, we have all the forecasts. This is what they forecasted, and this are the actual results here. And I'm just thinking, like, out of all the information provided today, only thing that was so-called in the green was the continuous jobs claims. And I'm thinking continuous. So they were right with that one, in a sense, where that number improved because it went down slightly. But then again, it's still people who are unemployed. So it's like, okay, giving that metric as something that's positive is not necessarily the greatest thing. But anyway, so just keep it moving real quick. We got core PCE prices. Forecast was 3.7. We came in at 3.60. What does that look like? Zoom in real quick here so you guys can see what I can see. So ultimately, core PCE says the consumption prices release measures the changes in prices of goods and services purchased by consumers for the purpose of consumption, excluding food and energy. So food and energy is not a part of this equation because, we know it'd be a lot higher. But just looking at the figures that's given to us, let me move myself out the way here. So as you can see, we have gone from what looks like a steady, let me get my graph here, steady for the last couple of months, 2%. Forecast was 2.3. So, for them, that I guess it came in good. 2%, 2%, 2%, 2%, and all of a sudden, boom, actual 3.6, and their forecast was 3.7. So it's like, okay, I did a video yesterday about, inflation being stickier. So ultimately, consumer prices, the things we actually need and use, is continuing to trend upward. And what does that have to do with? M2 supply is basically trickling back up. Debt is going through the roof. And it's just not a good figure. But then again, it shouldn't surprise anybody. And then what else we got here? Corporate profits. If corporations aren't profitable, what does that mean? They got to do some laying off. So here we got U.S. corporate profits. Says corporate profits with the inventory valuation and capital consumption adjustments in the net current production income of organizations. So if companies aren't profitable, then what? So here we got some figures. Been somewhat of a seesaw, but according to in March, they were actual came out at 3.7, and I'm sure they use that as a way of saying the economy is doing great. Companies are doing good, but look at that. All of a sudden now falls off the cliff. So if the forecast was 3.9%, like how do you have such a off forecast here where 3.9 was the forecast? It came in at negative 1.7. So that literally plays into the idea of why more companies are having to make tougher decisions, and that usually leads to layoffs. But shouldn't surprise us there. Keeping it moving. So these are some figures, man, that is worth paying attention to. So here we got GDP, quarter over quarter. Gross domestic product measures the annual change in the inflation-adjusted value of goods and services produced by the economy. So here we have, And of course, we know years ago they decided to adjust what would consist of a contracting economy. And so here we have relatively calm. It started to trick up a little bit. Forecast was 2%, 2% in January this year. Then we had a forecast of 3.3. So they were overshooting forecasts at the beginning of the year. And of course, all of a sudden things started to change. And so now it went from last month, forecast was 2.5. But then again, it exceeded forecast at 3.4%, according to their figures. And all of a sudden now, bam, forecast came out 1.6, and look at it, 1.3. So well below what they were forecasting. So yeah, just more red here. Okay, keeping it moving. Just sharing with you figures that came out today. So here we got GDP sales. And as always, let me just, it said we got forecast was 2%, came out 1.7. So let me just zoom in here. So as you can see here, these are the figures we're given. Calm. They were all above expectations, not below, above, about, above, up. 3.9 was the forecast then. And here we got 2.0 was this recent for May. And then all of a sudden 1.7, well below. Okay. So what else is here? And this will be the last one here. It'll be the initial jobless claims. So this goes back to a lack of corporate profits, corporations not being profitable. So what do? They have to lay off. So we got initial jobless claims measures the numbers of individuals who filed for unemployment insurance for the first time during the past week. So forecast was 218,000, came in at 219. So a whole G more. But as you can see here, let me zoom out. And over the last 1 year, this is what we're looking at 1 year. So I question these figures here because all the other numbers are questionable. But once again, as more companies lay off, there'll be more filings of unemployment. So yeah, just a lot of red worth paying attention to. And so with that being the case, what else is happening here? Let's get into some other events in reference to the economy and how things are not looking good, just more red. So here we have an article. Let me get myself out the way here from Zero Hedge. It came out yesterday, and it came out after my live stream, so I didn't get a chance to talk about it. But just to give you an idea, it says, worst since the Great Recession. Dallas Fed survey slumps in May as respondents fear inflation is getting pretty scary. And then this chart right here basically says it all. And so we haven't seen red in 12 consecutive months since we had the Great Recession back in 2008 through 2009. And we had that, major drawdown here as a result of locking down the economy. And so as of right now, 12 consecutive months. So literally, if you were to use this measurement here as a way of giving the overall health of the consumer and the economy itself, we're already in a recession. Clearly that that's not hard to hide that one. But it says, despite Bernstein and Biden demanding that greater unwashed realize just how great that they have had it, it says for the 2 straight years, 24 straight months, Texas survey sector has been in contraction below zero. It says with May's negative 12.1 print worse than expected. For context, the Great Recession of 08-09 also saw 24 straight months of negative prints. So everything is coming in well below forecast. Yeah, okay, but it doesn't stop there. Let's keep it moving. What else we got here? This is the real economy, people. This is the real story that is not being highlighted on the mainstream media. And so here's just some other graphs here that caught my attention that's worth highlighting further. And this goes back to some of the figures I mentioned. But once again, time it says initial jobless claims rise near 8-month highs. But so this goes back to the 219,000 Americans filed for jobless benefits for the first time last week. So just this graph here, let me zoom in here so you can see what I see here on the side. So here we have, let me get myself out the way. Oops, give me a second. Let me shrink myself a little bit so we can get to the figures here. So here we have initial jobless claims. So this is what I just showed here. But one thing is different is the initial jobless claims and the, what is this? It's not the right one. No, it's not the right one I was looking at. Let me go back here. Where was the other one I was looking at? Okay, here we go. This is what I want to talk about. So initial jobless claims and continuing jobless claims. So I kind of hinted that a moment ago, but this was a video I did a while ago, just questioning this red line here. This is a continuous, and once again, adjustments basically is in the same ballpark figure area. But then you go to initial, and how is there such a different level of gyrations here? And then we have right here this sudden surge of initial, but then again continuous is like still mild. So once again, just fudging the numbers, it really becomes exposed on these graphs here. Okay, keep it going. Just a couple other things here. All things relevant to what I want to talk about. So we'll get on to that one. Here is another one in relation to the banking sector. And so this came out today, this morning. It says, it won't be a shock. It won't be a shock if more banks fail soon. And then, of course, it's loaded with graphs just to highlight how last year's SVB leading the charge, same conditions that existed before SVB is present right now. So it just highlights more of the case how the banking sector is under major stress. And for whatever reason, the regional banks are still lending for commercial real estate at a time that interest rates are high. And so, yeah, it's more so probably refinancing for a lot of people at these higher rates, which basically spells that they're going to have troubles paying those loans back. But real quick here, it says U.S. regional banks deposit recently made new highs, exceeding the level prior to SVB collapse, but that's far from all clear. It says those conditions also preceded SVB's bankruptcy last March. And so here you got a graph here. Let me zoom in here. More distress ahead. Market goes cold on regional banks. So black line is the regional banking index, and KBW index is the larger banks up top. And so we have a great divergence between the big boys and the little boys. And as of right now, this indicator lets me know that the regional banks are experiencing significant outflows still, and where they're flowing to the big boys. And then let me keep it moving here. More things to talk about. So just more graphs. Small banks deposits back higher than SVB in March. And once again, that led to a banking issue. And let me get to this next one here. I just want to, let me see here. Falling apartment prices, bad omen for most commercial bacteria. Right? No, let me see. Where's it? Okay, this is what I want to talk about here. And this is the unrealized losses. All FDIC insured institutions. And so look at this. This is like, this is a systemic event right here happening in real time. But this is even an older graph here. But as of now, it says the losses that are on the books of the banks is $517 billion, as reported yesterday in relation to Q1. And so the losses continue to pile up. And so literally, we know the Federal Reserve is keeping a close eye on this, and they will be the backstop, supporter, lender, creator of first and last resort to keep these banks propped up. And so just a lot of red, a lot of down trajectory and assets that we are deemed safe in a sense that, no longer the case. Okay, let's keep it moving. What else I got here? More stories, more things to talk about. I got a lot of things up here. So yeah, here's an updated or more recent. Here's a more recent graph of what I just referred to here. And this is unrealized gains, losses on investment securities. And so this is as of 517 realized loss. This is what they were referring to yesterday. That was released. So, okay, keeping it moving. So what I want to talk about on a global scale is this recent agreement or meeting, rather. Let me zoom out here. That's taking place in Beijing. Because what they're working on will eventually impact everybody in a sense. So here we have Xi says China ready to work with Arab side to put in place 5 cooperation frameworks. And so this is China President Xi on Thursday said, which is today, is ready to work with Arab side to put in place 5 cooperation agreements. Says Xi made remarks as he delivered a keynote speech at the opening ceremony of the 10th ministerial conference of the China Arab States Cooperation Forum. And so I'm going to share with you those 5, but it says early harvests have been achieved in all 8 major cooperation initiatives. Wow. She said, adding that moving forward, China is ready to work with Arab side on the basis to put in place 5 cooperation agreements. Okay, so what exactly are these 5 agreements that they're working on? Well, one of them is, let me get myself out the way here so you guys see what I see here. So let me, because I bookmarked it on X so I can talk more about it here. So let me put myself over here and then zoom in so you can see what I see. Okay, so here we have just a little synopsis here over to this side of the screen. It says China Arab Cooperation Forum in Beijing today. It says, have you ever seen anything like this in the USA? Of course we haven't. Xi Jinping has a vision of such multilateralism from the very beginning. Harmony, partnership, trade, connectivity, development, peace, whatever. And then it goes on. Let me get here to share with you some of the. So here are the 5 points. Here are the 5 points that they're talking about here. It says joint tech labs for AI, space, agriculture, etc. Central bank digital currencies under the de-dollarization push. Free trade in e-commerce, investments in oil and gas and EV, people-to-people exchange. So what exactly is people-to-people exchange? I have no clue. I'm sure I'm going to dive more into that. But the one that caught my attention here is the central bank digital currency de-dollarization. And so I'm of the mindset that regardless of, especially here in America, whoever's in office, Biden or Trump, it doesn't really matter. It's kind of baked into the cake because the infrastructure, the setup is already done. It's more so just that systemic event that's needed to usher it in. And so I actually put together, let me share with you, some thoughts in a blog form. So for those who haven't, go check out the RTD blog page where I share more thoughts here. But I'll just real quickly here share with you what it looks like. But I titled Reshaping America's Currency, the High Stakes of the 2024 Election. And I just talk more about, how Biden is the pro CBDC and Trump is trying to position himself as the pro BTC cryptocurrency side of things. But ultimately, it doesn't really matter just because everything is already built out and ready to be rolled out. And so let me share with you a CBDC tracker that I came across that really highlights my point here. And so here we have cbdctracker.hrf.org. And so on the screen here is the map of the globe. And let me just zoom in here. So as you can see here, this is a very interactive screen where it shows all the activity for CBDCs. And if I was just to focus on those countries that are researching CBDCs, you'll see every country here that has a current working group that it's working on it. So every single country that has a central bank is working on something. And so this is what it looks like. So let's just, for the sake of my people in Canada, is probably tuning in. Canada, let's see what Canada got going on. So it gives you some more insight as to what's happening in Canada. And so it says get some information here. And it says Canada is currently in research phase, according to the Bank of Canada. The Bank of Canada describes CBDCs as something that, quote, would be a digital form of cash in your wallet. However, it fails to mention the CBDCs, unlike cash, leave a digital trail and often require identifying information. It's credit, bank, whatever. Okay, so this is just what's happening in Canada. And this is solely on the research side of things. So these are all the central banks we're currently working on. Okay, so let me keep it going. Now, if I was to look at the ones that are piloting, they have an operational pilot in place. And so that's the yellow. So as you can see here, these are all the countries that have a pilot. And so Australia has a pilot. And then look else. On this side of the world, in this region, the U.S. has a pilot, Colombia has a pilot, and Brazil has a pilot. And so just to let you know, regardless of who's in office, what has already been put on the books. So here we have, let me make sure this is going correctly. Here we have the United States is in pilot phase. Over the years, the Federal Reserve has conducted multiple pilots, experiments, and studies. Furthermore, the President Joe Biden issued Executive Order 14067 to place, quote, the highest urgency on research and development efforts into the potential design and deployment options of a United States CBDC. So that, with the signature of the executive order there, gave the Federal Reserve permission to begin ramping up their development of a CBDC. And so it says in August 2020, the Federal Reserve Board announced the Federal Reserve Board's Technology Lab, or Tech Lab, is expanding experimentation with technologies relevant to digital currencies and other payment innovations. Since then, the Federal Reserve has published multiple studies on CBDCs. Elsewhere, under the name Project Hamilton, the Federal Bank of Boston announced that it would build and test hypothetical central bank digital currency for wide-scale general purpose use. So that's the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston. It says the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, under the name Project Cedar, also started an initiative to research wholesale CBDC designs. In Project Cedar Phase 2 and UBN Plus, the Federal Reserve Bank of New York collaborated with Monetary Authority of Singapore to investigate how wholesale central bank digital currencies would improve the efficiency of cross-border wholesale payments. Okay. And then it says March 22, President Biden issues whatever. And so here we have just two of the three projects, pilots, that are being explored here in the USA. And so if I was to just click on red, which is launched, these are all the countries that have already launched. So as you can see here, we have a heavy, let me zoom in here. We have a heavy amount of already rolled out CBDCs in Bahamas. We got Jamaica. And we have all the islands. We have, was it Grenada? Let me get it. Okay, zoom in. Let me see if I can zoom in some. Let me get out of here. We have, let me open this up here. We have, let me get in some more. Just to show you what's going on. We have all these islands here. St. Kitts and Nevis, Antigua, Barbados. So ECCU, Eastern Caribbean Central Bank launches CBDC, referred to as Dcash. So I bet you a lot of people didn't know that these islands already had a central bank digital currency called Dcash in 2021. And that includes Antigua, Anguilla, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing it right, Barbuda, Dominica, the Grenada, Montserrat, St. Kitts. So yeah, so CBDCs are already out there. You know, they're already in use in some regions, not talked about just because at this current moment, they're irrelevant to us here in the United States. But to keep it moving, look what else is happening. Look where it's already. Central bank digital currencies are already released in some capacity. So we know China, theirs is operational, EU1. We have Kazakhstan. Russia is open to the public, but it's not fully in people's hands yet. And then we have India. And what else we got here? We have Bangladesh. We got Thailand. And then all the islands over here as well. So this is what is not being talked about much. But CBDCs are already here. Now it's just a matter of waiting on our systemic event to actually put them in the hands or put them into the wallets of everyday users. So that's why all this political theater of, Biden, Trump, Biden, like, I don't know, Trump, like, I'll never approve it. You don't have to approve it. It's already done. And the likelihood, if he was to get in office and the banking sector, they'll literally bring the house of cards down on his watch. And just like this previous incident that our world experienced where there was a health event that led to the signature of the solution, which happened to be a medicine that he still owns up to as being something that saved lives and stuff like that, let everybody have their own viewpoints on things. And so just like that occurred, there will be another event. It's baked into the cake. It's just a matter of when. Anybody who denies that there will be some type of event of some kind, whether it be a war, whatever, the system itself is ready to come down. It's just a matter of getting to that point where it's time. When it comes down, the solution is already ready. So just with a couple signatures, Congress will meet with the emergency meeting. They'll sign over some things. And of course, the solution has already been worked on. And I just talked about it a moment ago. Federal Reserve got pilots. They ready. They got the wholesale. They got the domestic. So our currency is already digital. So it won't take much behind the scenes. You won't even know. It'd be effortless. It'd be seamless. You just download a new wallet, enter your social security number into the wallet, and voila, you'll be up and operational. And there you have it. The capturing of the dollar, the entire monetary system again into the same hands of the people who run it. And that's just what that's what's possible for the future. So, just my opinion. Could be 100% wrong, but then again, we'll see. Yeah, Rob, 100%. Roberta, appreciate you. God bless you as well. We have CBDC now, digital money and paper is sorry, what up, Rob? 100%. And that's why it's just the rebranding of it with the name central bank digital currency, because we're already digital now, but it's on the commercial bank ledger. And when they flip the switch, however they do it on the back end, we won't know nothing about it other than just the way it's presented to us in a app digital form. It's just basically an exchange of ledgers from the commercial ledger, more than likely to the central bank ledger, and interoperable amongst the networks. Central banks and commercial banks still work together on the same network. It's just more than likely the information may be kept on a different ledger. That's all. So yeah, it's yeah. Just the use of the technological advancements led by the crypto space. If it wasn't for the crypto space, I don't think our government would be so knowledgeable on how to execute a lot of the things that they are preparing now, because they're literally copying and pasting a lot of the code, a lot of the developments, working with the same institutions such as Ripple and Stellar and all those other entities to execute this CBDC takeover. So anyway, but that's what's happening, man. Never a dull moment, but be of good courage, my good people. These things were going to take place regardless. It's just a matter of timing. And so it's still possible to not necessarily succumb to all of this entirely. That's why it's good to have more or all of your possession as much as you can outside the system, something in tangible, real form that you can use, whether it be for barter or for the alternative economy that will be formed as well. So, yeah, this is just what's happening, man. I thought I would just share some news that caught my attention. Two-tiered currency, teed out of the country and Sierra in the current country currency. Yeah, I agree with that one. Trade, yeah. All right, good people. Well, that's all she wrote for this morning. Be blessed, be safe. Enjoy the rest of your day. Be appreciative for what you have and thankful for what God is about to do in your life. According to your faith, be it unto you. Be blessed, people.